We are
Mhm.
live, literally at gunpoint.
Ho, 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 ho.
I made a punny.
Wah,
Oh,
wah.
double dad jokes coming here, folks. Fast and furious. I
Mm,
am Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, perhaps a little giddy, and not intox. I only had a beer and a
mm,
half for dinner,
mm.
but I had a very
Oh,
good celebratory dinner. Delicious Italian food, high end. And with me is none other than Bad Mike Battalato, one half of Mr. North Texas. Is that the right way to put it? One half of Mr. North Texas.
well, I'd say there's really three of us with David Ray and myself and Gary Oliver, but I'm the longest involved in it. Although David was there at the beginning, Doug and I were the guys that kind of put things in motion. But man, Gary has just been working his ass off the last few weeks, and he's done a lot to make this con work out. And then David's done a lot of stuff too behind the scenes. So we're all in there working. We were coming up on a month, 4 weeks. So we're, just trying
Oh,
to get
correct.
everything. I'm pulling auction stuff. I pulled raffle stuff the other day. I want to go pull some auction stuff probably this weekend. I pulled some last weekend. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff coming in. I'm starting to look at things like, okay, I was going to do this, and now I'm like, oh, I really need to do this. This is like, it's time. It's time to do it. So yeah, it's going to be it's getting here faster than you think. You always think you got a lot of time, then you look up and you're like, oh man, ouch.
Uh, Kim just dropped in to say hello and then go off to bed.
From Ireland. Oh, what time is it in Ireland? I don't know. I don't. It's a lot later than it is
Five,
here. Yeah.
5 hours for me, so 6 hours for you.
Yeah. So it's about, oh gosh, it's 1 or 2 in the morning. Well, have a great trip, Kim. I know you will, but still, a lot of my friends have gone to Ireland the last couple of years. But well, have a good trip. Try not to drink too much.
It's an
Am I
island.
being too? I'm being too dad here, but But
And
yeah,
I
but watch
understand.
watch yourself. Those Irish, I mean, they Eric can tell you, man. Their drinking capacity is outperforms that of a modern,
Oh,
regular
that's why
human
I
being.
married
So,
an Irish American. Come on,
yeah,
I
there you
had to
go.
find somebody who could keep pace with me when I was younger.
Yep,
Now she's
absolutely.
a lightweight. Now she's a lightweight. But
Mm.
what can I tell you?
All right.
Kim, the
Well, we missed
Guinness,
Kim.
Guinness in
We
Ireland,
can't
I've
wait to
heard
see
is
you.
better than American
Yeah,
Guinness.
Irish. Well, yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks. You can tell us all about it, and of course, post a lot of pictures so we can see the pictures on Facebook. That'll be great. So, well, there's our one woman viewer that checked in tonight. Unless Jen checks in too, we've already hit our limit.
Oh no,
We-
no. Well, and then what if Tammy checks in? Yeah,
Oh gosh, oh, I forgot. Oh yeah, yeah. Wow, we might blow this wide open tonight. Wide
yeah,
open. Yeah.
that it might be dangerous.
Hmm.
It could be habit forming.
Oh yeah.
Yes, remember,
Oh yeah.
folks,
We
the
could we could
tavern.
blow all the whatever the little metrics that you look at. It's going to be completely blown to pieces now. So. Oh yeah, if Grandpa our RPG Grandma comes, oh my gosh,
Oh
yeah,
my
we,
God,
we may
yes.
we may blow this out the wind. We may just totally destroy our
We're gonna
trip here.
ruin our reputations. It's supposed to be a
I
success.
know, I know. It's a bunch of old worthless white people. So yeah, now
Yeah.
now we're so anyway, we're Jim's not with us this week. We don't have a guest this week, and so we're going to do what we like to do, which is talk about all kinds of things going on. I've got a little list of things. Eric got a list of things. I want to talk about some of the things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about Eric's announcement the other day about Blades and Sorcery, which is I have been. Eric, you can tell him this is true. I have been asking about this for how long? About a year. I've been saying, when are we
Yes.
going to do this thing? Because I had so much fun with Torchlight, which I actually had an article published in Torchlight. I had two. I had two articles published in
Yeah.
Torchlight. One was animals that weren't in the bestiary, and the other one was potions. I had to go look because I'd forgotten what I read. One was potions because remember, Swords Wizardry Light did not have potions, Eric. It didn't even have magic items. Magic items were not even a thing. So
And
I did a
it's
little
and
article on potions.
yeah. And by the way, light. How's the best way to put it? When you had it at 4 pages with Frog God, that
Right.
was an amazing layout. But you know what? It was small. Even my eyes, as shitty as they are, it gotten to the point now where I got to do this with my sword and wizardry light, like try to get the focus. I need to borrow Rich's readers, I think, at some point.
It was an app. So I am a huge fan of Swords Wizard Light. It's absolutely a playable game. I played it with my kids; they loved it, and we would send off rules and folders and monster cards and everything to schools, churches, and gaming groups for years. That was while Frog God had Swords and Wizardry, while that was with us before Matt took it back, we would send that out, and we got rave reviews from people because it's such an easy game to pick up and play immediately. And there's so many great things about this. So I've been asking you for years, like, man, what are we? Well, you had a little court case going on that was taking up a lot of your time.
I was a little distracted.
You were a little distracted. I know. And then, of course, WotC wouldn't cooperate because they just kept fiddle farting around the last 2 years and wouldn't tell us what exactly they're doing or not doing, or is 5e going to be around? Is the OGL going to be here? So this just got kind of put on the back burner for a while. Oh, that looks really good.
It does.
But so this is the kind of the return of Swords and Wizardry Light, and it's been renamed Blades and Sorcery Light, but it's still at heart. It's an old school, very rules light game that you should be able to play with your kids, with your people that don't see. My two favorite things about Swords and Wizardry Light were, it's great for kids of any age. I mean, like 8. We used to play with when my grandkids were like 6 and 7 and 8, and it's also it's a good primer for learning about role playing games. If somebody I remember my wife when I first met her and I was talking about role playing games, she didn't really understand it. I ran her through an adventure, but it was just kind of hard for her to understand. But I would have wished I had this at the time. This would have been so easy. You could just jump right in. I mean, within 15 minutes you should be playing. The easy as this is. And so I like it for those two reasons. Because kids, it's good for kids, and it's good for a quick, easy game. Even if you don't know how to play RPGs, it's good. And I'm assuming I haven't seen Blades and Sorcery. I've just seen this, but I'm assuming it follows a lot of the same tenets as Swords and Wizardry Light.
It is going to be almost word for word what you already know as Swords and Wizardry Light. If you already have a copy of Swords and Wizardry Light and you don't want to get another copy, you're not going to need to. We are adding gnomes to the core. Yeah, I know, and mostly.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Mostly for my good friend Matt Jackson, who detests gnomes.
Good, yeah. Put more gnomes
playing
in.
More gnomes. The Lawyers campaign right now, so gnomes got to get a little love. But
whatever makes Matt pissed is perfect. It's good.
Yeah, no, he won't even see this live because he works these nights or something like that. But honestly, if you like the way Swords and Wizardry Light is presented, it's going to take more pages because the layout and the font is a bit more old eye friendly.
Yes, so we talk about that a lot. Eric and I talk about that a lot. How we're getting too old to read, little 6-point, fonts. We can't do it anymore. Just not in our repertoire.
Is going to probably be in Swords and Wizardry Continual Light. I think we're going to add the Valkyrie. I think we're adding Marauder. We're going to add a few extra classes beyond the ones that we know. But for Light, we're still trying to. Was it keep it simple, stupid? Right?
Yeah, that would be my suggestion for Light. Is just why mess with success, right? I mean, keep it as anything you want to add on. Keep that for Continual Light or whatever this is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be what it's going to be called. It's
going to be Continual Light. So just a quick overview without giving away too many secrets. Blades and Sorcery Light is going to be available in print. We don't know the pricing yet, but the PDF should be available as pay what you want. Goes to levels 1 to 3. You don't count experience points. This is a very pick up and go sort of game. Great for convention play.
It is great for convention play, yes.
Continual Light will literally continue from that, but it's going to add some more tweaks, additional classes
Good.
beyond the initial. Probably add half orcs and half elves this time
Maybe
around.
maybe a ranger class in there, a woodsman
There's
kind of ranger.
there was a ranger class, but before all these classes were just a simple one-trick pony, we
Uh-huh.
may go a little bit further. We're going to tweak it, but we still want to keep it simple.
Okay.
Again,
All right.
D6 and a D20. So if we
That's
use
it.
large tables, you're not gonna. You might have a table that is like 6 parts, 1 through 20. So your actual table is 1 through 120. There's no percentile dice in this, folks. Just remember this:
Right.
D6 and a
But
D20.
here's what I love about D6C20. Do you realize how many combinations of numbers you get? That first of all,
Yep.
you can get 1 to 3 because you roll 6-sided dice.
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can get 1 or 2 by rolling 1, 2, 3, or 4, 5, 6. You can roll 2 6-sided dice, and you get a range from 2 to 12, which is what the morale was in most of the old BX and stuff. They used to have a morale for 2 to 12, but it's actually a really good weighted for wandering monsters. I mean, there's a lot of things you can use 2 to 12 for, because the middle numbers obviously are going to occur more, so you have a weighted chart there. 20-sided, you could do a lot with the 20-sided. First of all, you could roll 1 through 10, or because you could just have it, so it could be 1 through 10. I mean, I was figuring all this out. I'm looking at it going, man, there's so many things you can do with just 2 dice, so it's great. There's all kinds of numbers you can get to if you're worried like, oh, well, I can only roll a 1 to 6 or 1 to 20. No. There's all kinds of numbers you can get to here. And like you said, if you have a 1 to 20, you could make 6 1 to 20 charts and roll the 6-sided die, and so you suddenly have 120. You don't just have 20 of something; you have 120.
Right.
So there's so many things you can do. You can do with those 2 dice, and it makes things really easy at the table, because we've all sat down and somebody's fumbling looking for their die 12, or they can't pick up their die 4 because they're shaped weird.
D8 looks the same to new players.
Yeah.
So with a single D6, if you want to emulate a D4 with the same average, you subtract 1.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to emulate a D8, you add 1. It is literally that simple. It is amazing. So we're going to do continual light. Continual light, it's going to still stay true to that through level 7. Like I said, the additional classes may become more than just a simple one-trick pony trick. I've been thinking of multi-class rules, so adding that into the system. And me, Don, and Tom have been throwing around the idea of going to Eternal Light, and that would be Eternal Light would be an add-on to Continual Light to take the game to like a Beckme level. So like you could do strongholds, you can do realms, you can have your Thieves Guild, but the idea is to keep it simple. Blades and sorcery could also stand for basic and simple. Okay.
And so now, remember that. So for those of you who don't really know, Blades and Sorcery Light, it's only up to 3rd level. So that this is just a game this is a beginning game, fast, and like I said, it's fast and easy. You get into it, and that's why you're going to want Continual Light eventually, because if you're just doing a one shot, it doesn't matter. So you do a one shot, you're not going to go above 3rd level, if you play for twice in a weekend or whatever, because you have to go on.
Your first 2 sessions will get you to level 2. Your next 3 sessions get you to level 3, and then you're like, oh, I can start.
So it's 5. Yeah, you've been on 5 adventures.
Yeah. When you want Continual Light. Now, Don has a very good point here. With Continual Light, Continual Light was a very stripped down. I did the initial layout, okay, and then the version that never got released was Jeff Jones did an excellent layout but we're going to go beyond that.
Great. Yeah, it looks great.
We're gonna go beyond that, because as Don is pointing out, we're gonna add to Continual Light. You're gonna have a magic item section. You're gonna have new spells. You're gonna have your potions, your scrolls. You're gonna have everything that should allow your campaign to hit level 7+. Because Continual Light, if you don't want to go and get the add-on rules for everything beyond, you don't have to. It's going to
Sure.
come with adventuring beyond level 7, but you don't ever hit level 8. There'll be a way to earn extra hit points, a bonus to hit, an extra spell slot, so you
Right.
can still progress without getting outside the window. One thing though I do like to point out to people is you can run any old school adventure pretty much with any old school rules. If you run a regular old school adventure directly with these rules, your party's going to have a tough time because the bonus is max at 1 for a good score, and hit dice are based on a d6, not a d8. So you might want
Yes.
to tone your monsters down like by 1 point every hit die just to get the average back to.
I looked at it this way. So when I was playing Swords and Wizardry Light, which same thing. Obviously, I would only run adventures if I was running a preset adventure that was basically published by TSR or whatever, or some other company. I would only run things from level literally from beginning or one or two levels. I mean, I wouldn't do anything for characters 3rd and above because
Right.
honestly, for Swords and Wizardry Light, there. So let's just take. I don't know. Let me just think of some. Keep on the Borderlands might even be too tough for a Swords Wizard Light party. I ran it with a B1 in Search of the Unknown, which is obviously for beginning and up to 2nd level characters. What else did I used to run with this? There's a couple. I think I ran Hall of Bones or some of the Swords Wizardry stuff I ran with this.
Okay.
I want to say Hall of Bones, or what was the other beginning adventure? 1975. That was the other one they had for. Because, like I said, yeah. I wouldn't run anything above level for adventures level 3 to 5. That's not going to cut it for Swords of Light. You will kill your party. They will be dead. Now, what I thought was interesting, and when I did a lot of extra monsters because in the original 4-page sheet there was about 12 monsters, maybe a little more than that in the original one.
Yeah,
and I wrote so I created an additional. I want to say almost 30 or 40 monsters, and some were high level, some were like a hill giant. You say, well,
yeah,
well, why would you put a hill giant there? It's going to crush his characters. Well, because I always believe that. Look, I don't scale stuff necessarily. I don't say okay because this party's only 1st level. They're only going to run into 1st level monsters or 2nd level monsters. I will throw a monster like that at them, and of course, the proper. So you have a hill giant and you're 2nd level, and they're probably going to crush you with one blow. They're going to probably kill you with one blow for at least the Swords Wizardry Light. You're going to have to think of a way to either avoid that monster or to set a trick or a trap for it or to ambush it. You're going to have to think. You're not going to be able to rush your party at them, and I think that's a valuable lesson for first-time players. That's why I put some high-level monsters. If you look at the original, gosh, I probably have one right here. I'm trying to think of some of the high. Oh, look what I have, of course, right next to me. I want to say giant. I don't see giant. Maybe I didn't put. Yeah, hill giant. Hill giant's in here. It does 2 die 6 per club hit, and that's going to crush your character. But you're going to have to say, okay, look, this thing is going to crush us. What are we going to do? Okay, everybody get your missile weapons. Everybody get missile weapons. We're going to get high up on this mountain. And we're going to fire down on it. Magic user, you get your magic missile ready. I mean, so we're going to get some oil ready. It forces. So the reason I put higher level monsters in there, and I hope you do this to create your monsters, is because it's good to have the players actually have to think their way out of stuff rather than just fight their way out of stuff. Right. And I put some monsters. Like I said, I have a harpy. I'm looking at some hellhound. There's some higher level monsters. Of course, there's low level stuff like human bandit. And what else I have? A giant spider. I mean, poisonous snake, stuff like that. Stuff that like a poisonous snake. You think like a poisonous snake, they're 1 hit die, but man, a poisonous snake. I mean, that's like a rat. That's like a giant timber rattlesnake that could kill a 1st level character. If you get that, could kill you or me, Eric, if we get bit by a timber rattlesnake. So I put some stuff in here that was kind of, all the spectrum, because I never believe in scaling necessary to characters. I always believe let them do what they want to do. And I used to have this thing when I used to run a party. One of the first encounters I'd have for a brand new party is an ogre. And ogres in original D&D were 4 + 1 hit dice. So usually about 20, 25 hit points, and they would do 1 to 10 damage. Well, if you're a 1st level character, that's 1 hit's going to probably kill you. I mean, there's a good chance it'll kill you. And so I'd always have so the first adventure I always have is, okay, there's an ogre outside of town and he's doing something. He's killing cows on the farm. He's harassing travelers, whatever. You guys need to deal with it. And what they would do is they'd have to. So the worst thing you could do is, okay, we're going to show up at the ogre's cave and all rush him and try to attack him. You're going to get, you're going to get destroyed. So I was always amazed and gratified at the really cool ways they would think of how to deal with this ogre. Because sometimes they would go, let's just talk to the ogre and see what he wants, which is perfectly valid to do. It's perfectly valid. Why is the ogre killing, cows and killing them? Okay, we're going to send you. You go talk to the ogre. We're going to wait up here in the hills with our bows out. Now, if he tries to kill you, we'll hit him with bows, but you ask him what he's doing. And so I would have a whole plot line. Well, he's killing cows because he used to get, food from here, but then these goblins moved in, and you could deal with the goblins. The ogres would stop killing cats. So I'd always make a little thing. Or conversely, they could set an ambush for him. They would say, okay, you get the ogre to chase you through this narrow canyon, and we're going to rain down with arrows, and we're going to dig a pit trap and this and that. Which somebody could probably get killed doing that. But the point I'm trying to make is that you should be able. That is the really cool thing about the game is when players think of really interesting solutions beyond I take my sword and I swing and I hit the guy, or the magic user, I cast my one spell, I can't do anything else, I just hide. No, there's so many more things you can do. There's so many other paths you can take. Whoa, what's going on there? Is that Dave Johnson calling you?
No. It's the one person in my family who has no clue what my schedule is.
Okay, I'm going to guess. Just let me guess. Your son.
No, my father. My son called him
okay. Because your son used to call us every Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, now he knows.
He knew you were doing the show. He knew you were doing the show. He'd call you every Saturday, every Wednesday night. Anyway, but to wrap up, I didn't ramble on, but I'm just so excited about this. But I like having challenges, and and sometimes you get these characters that are low level, and you don't want them just to run in there and kill everything. You say you got to think this out. Think of a way to get out of this. And what we'll probably do is in a few weeks, we can have a show where I will give you about 10 modules to run with Swords and Wizardry Light. I can give you about probably right. The first one I would say is B1 Search the Unknown, because that's my favorite adventure of all time. That's a really good intro module. It's got different kinds of monsters you can use. It's basically ready made for people who don't know how to DM a module. B1 Search the Unknown. So, but I'll make a list of 10 adventures you could run with Swords and Wizardry Light. Because I think that there's if you want an existing adventure because you're like, well, I don't feel confident enough to write one. Can you give me an existing adventure? I've got about 10 here that I could give you that I think that are easy to find. You probably have laying around somewhere that you could easily run. And one of the things that I think is also great about Swords and Wizardry Light is I think it's pretty easy to make adventures for this, really. Because you don't want these guys are, like you said, they only have 1 to 6. They only have 6 hit points. They're not as powerful as some of the other editions of Dungeons and Dragons. You want them to be able to hopefully survive. So I think some of the best dungeons for this kind of characters, maybe it's just like a 10-room dungeon. It doesn't have to be some giant mega dungeon castle. It could be just a cave with you go into the cave and there's like 6 or 7 different caves in the cave, and you have to clear the cave out. I mean, that's right there is probably tough enough for a part of your adventures. But yeah, I'll make a list. I'll make a list of some good low level stuff that you can run. And I'll tell you something else. Tom Wilson wrote a really good adventure compilation for Swords and Wizardry Light, and I have it around here somewhere. I don't have it right with me, but it had about, I want to say, maybe I have it right here. It had a couple of dozen just short adventures, and I wonder if that's still available on Tom's site or not. I'll find it. I can't remember the name of it. Oh, here it is. Off the Beaten Path. And I have it here.
Yeah, I have it.
I use this all the time if I just need a really short. This is Forest Excursions. This was made for Swords and Wizardry Light. Designed for Swords and Wizardry Light. And it basically has these little, 2 or 3 page adventures. So this is a very good resource. I will see if Tom still has this in print, but this is perfect for Blades and Sorcery Light. Like here's a Tower of the Dogs. It's got kobolds and it's a tower with a bunch of kobolds in it. Perfect. Perfect for you guys. Tomb of the Undying Hero. There's a ghoul and a couple other undead in here. Perfect, because your character's one ghoul could kill the whole party if you play it right. So you can tell I'm very excited about this because I've been asking you about this for years. And
it's been on the hiatus
game.
way too long.
I'm so glad you and Don and everybody are doing this again because, and by the way, count on me if you need any help, or I'm going to write some mini adventures for this. I had written some about 2 years ago, Eric, when we were doing Torchlight.
Yeah.
Torchlight 2 never came out, and so I just kind of stuck these adventures. I got to find them, man. I don't know where they're at.
Coming back.
I love Torchlight. Yeah.
Actually, aiming for a schedule of quarterly. That makes me nauseous. But I honestly, I love the idea of Torchlight to get it out there. Yeah. Glenn does some great work, man. That was a great costume cover.
Yeah, it was. By the way, this is something I think we still have maybe a dozen copies of these at the North Texas warehouse. Look, it's magical potions. That's the one I did. 20 different magical potions, and I also did. Let's see. Here we go. Toma Horror's Light 2. Another 8, probably another dozen or so. Including us, a lot of undead stuff. So yeah, this is if you're looking for this, I'll try to bring them up to North Texas to the convention, and I think you just left with the con. We need to make sure the money gets back to you or gets back to this project. They've been sitting on a shelf for the past 2 or 3 years. So.
Hey, there'll be a hot commodity. By the way, people have asked me, do you know what Blades and Sorcery abbreviates to? And I went, exactly, I know what it abbreviates.
I knew that was on purpose the moment I saw it.
It abbreviates to BS. And listen, if you want people talking about your game, hey, did you play BS? What are you talking about? BS, Blades and Sorcery. Is a game named BS? Exactly.
Yep. By the way, Don, I'm going to dig out those mini. So remember that? What was that random dungeon generator we used to use all the time? I randomly did. I randomized about one-page dungeon. I did about half a dozen of those, and they were all about 5 to 6 rooms. And I wrote them. I wrote a bunch of them up for Swords and Wizardry Light. I don't think it would take very much to convert them to Blades and Sorcery Light. So I'll dig those up and. Maybe we can. I'll submit those to Torchlight. Maybe that's something we can publish in Torchlight.
Again, if you have played Swords and Wizardry Light, you'll feel comfortable with it. And by the way, it's going to be a transition to another topic. Some can I use the word reprobate? Because there's another R word I would like to use, which may no longer be politically correct.
Yeah, there's a few words.
Yeah, but It is literally a rebranding of Swords and Wizardry Light. Now, I owe a lot of thanks to Matt and everybody else at Frog God Games.
Absolutely, yeah.
Who, when the idea for Swords and Wizardry Light first came, I wasn't even thinking Swords and Wizardry. I was just thinking OSR.
Yeah.
And Frog God Games through Zach and Bill and, of course, Matt were like, hey, play in our sandbox. Use what we have and whittle it down to 4 pages. And I was like, oh, Jesus. Because I opened my mouth up and now it had to become a reality.
There you go.
And when it became a reality, I still remember I was driving to the Poconos with Rach and I get a phone call from Zach. And Zach tells me, it's a go. We're going to be going to print. I mean, it's a go as in everything I submitted was approved. And he goes, and Matt wants you to take copyright. And I was like, well, Swords and Wizardry is his baby. He goes, yeah, but you created something new out of it. Mm-hmm. And besides which, he doesn't want to have to deal with the questions from the fan base. I was like, oh, well, it makes sense. So it was called Swords and Wizardry Light because it was being published by Frog God Games, who had Swords and Wizardry.
Right.
Matt left the company, took with him Swords and Wizardry, and then when that happened, before I even spoke with Matt, I knew I'd have to rebrand. And why would I have to
Yeah.
rebrand? Because Matt is restarting Mythmere Games, right? He's looking to make his baby grow into a full-grown child slash company.
Hmm. Right.
You don't need to muddy the market. So before Matt and I
Sure.
even talked, I already knew there was going to be a rebranding. I didn't know it was going to rebrand as Blades and Sorcery until this past weekend when it came to me, and literally I was like, "Oh my god, what? I haven't been like remember those commercials? I should have had a V8. I should have had a V8. It was one of those moments,
We're
and
old. Yeah.
yeah, and I was literally getting snacks together for Rach and I for my wine and cheese. And I was like, oh, I got to reach out
Mm.
to Don and Tom. I've got an idea. I've got an idea. So, folks, you are literally coming in with at the ground level. And here, I'm going to tease something. And it's not a huge tease if like Glenn and I had spoken about some of this stuff, but we
Uh-huh.
want to use the core rules. And when I'm going to say the core rules, Blaze and Sorcery Light are your I don't know, free rock of crack. Okay, it's going to be what you want in PDF. And if you like the system, we would love you to come back and get Continual Light. But those Continual Light rules are going to be very easy to morph into other genres. And we already have plans for other genres. Nothing's mapped out so far just yet. But we are certainly looking at making it, I don't want to say universal rule set, but making it a rule set that you can pick up. Oh, whatever. I'm not going to drop any names because we got a few works in progress that we're playing with, but you might have something that you are going to like, I want to do science fiction. You could pick up our version of the science fiction and it'll fit, and it'll feel familiar to you. And we lost Mike, we gained Mike. We lose a Mike, you gain a Mike. You lose a Mike, you gain a Mike.
Yeah, it started roboting on me really bad. Then it just said, "Hey, man, you need to reboot." So it cut me off. So I'm having my usual weekly weird problems with connection. So, but yeah. So I got what you said though. It just like I said, it was roboting really bad. Um,
Oh,
but yeah, I'm very excited about this and what's going to come of it. And I think it's going to. I just think there's so many cool things. You know, I created so much stuff for this that I never got to use. I got to submit the potion table, but I had some other. I had a magic wand table. I had some, you know, because you can't use the magic right out of the book because you have to scale everything for die 6, die 20, you know, and
right,
then also you have to scale everything because if you look at even BX, but especially AD&D and early games, they assume you know a lot about, you know, for instance a wand of fire. Oh well, you know it duplicates a wall of fire spell. Well, what's a wall of fire spell in Blades and Sorcery? Well, there we don't, you know, I don't know.
right. No,
Yeah, I don't know what the spells are. So I mean, there's some things you have to scale properly, you know, without knowing that. Hey, you know, here's a polymorph cell potion. What's the polymorph cell spell? Well, I don't have that. You
right,
got to assume people who are playing this game haven't played game. They haven't played D&D. They don't know what polymorph. So you have to explain everything and you have to do it concisely. Like when everything, I made all my potion. I remember my big thing with potion was I made everyone 2 lines. It couldn't be longer than 2 lines. It has to be. You have to describe. Well, okay, some of them are a little longer. 2 lines, 2 sentences. Let's say 2
two
sentences. Yeah,
sentences. Yeah,
yeah.
and
Most of them are 1 sentence. Yeah.
that is actually like an unofficial rule when it comes to this.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't be verbose in what you're trying to describe, either you got to try again or maybe it doesn't fit. And we got a good question from
Just
Hector. So
could play.
solo RPG with it. Now, Hector, I'm actually a fan of a lot of the solo RPGs that are out there. I've picked up a number and I've read the rules and I've played with them a little bit. And I think Blades and Sorcery Light, because it is literally, like I said, basic and simple. I think it will fit. If there's an OSR hack that allows solo playing, you'll be able to do it extremely well with Blaze and Sorcery Light because there's less rules to get in your way. That being said, um, I I I like the whole solo genre, and I don't mean like going through like a solo module of going from like oh, if you attack, go to 27. If you shit your pants, go to 47. If I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of the solo grow and play, the solo dungeon kind of that grows in front of you and all that stuff.
Mhm.
So I'll make this. If you call it a promise, I might have to tell you it's something that I certainly would want to see exist. I will tell you right now that the light rules are first in line. The continual light rules are shortly thereafter, and then rebooting Torchlight comes probably after that. And there's a bunch of other things. We have other people working on stuff, so it isn't all just me talking about it. But something that I'd be
Mhm.
passionate about would be to get a solo rules hack out for it. Now, that being said, it might be something that initially starts getting tried out or beta tested in Torchlight. Maybe we have an article dealing with dungeon generation for this, and
Mhm.
another one on how to make certain decisions that for the encounters and how to play them out. That might be a series of articles in Torchlight as we figure it all out. But I like that question because it is something that I enjoy. And
Mhm.
I've never seen it done perfectly. It probably never will because it's a difficult thing to do. But I do enjoy it. So yes, 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 Tom. BS solo. Yeah, I'm bullshitting solo. Okay, all right. That's certainly possible. Certainly, sir. Certainly. So
Well, this will be
gotcha.
fun. This is going to be fun to see how this comes about and to see it back. Like I said, it's like we had a 2 year hiatus here. It's like we're cruising along. We had Torchlight, we had all this stuff, and then we had a 2 year hiatus, and so now we're back, and so it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be very very cool.
Mr.
Or
Gunn,
maybe it's longer
everybody
too.
gets joy out of playing computer games. And there are a number of rule sets that have been tweaked so you can use solo rules. I mean, Matt Jackson does posts on running solo sessions, and you can use the GM emulator book, with the Mythic Generator GM emulator,
Mhm.
to get something that almost resembles having a GM making decisions. Like I said, I think the rules, if you were already playing with supplements like that, I think these rules will be a very good fit because the rules are so light. The conflict with other outside rules should be minimal. But again, it's something that I certainly like myself, and I will be putting some of my thought processes into it. Joe, for one, not a lot of in person friends. Other than cons, and I don't like computer video games. Yeah, that's certainly part of it. And you like that idea of rolling dice, right? There's that whole it's a mental thing too when you're actually rolling those dice on your table and you're drawing out the dungeon and you did an encounter and oh and look your party leveled up. You do is it the same as playing with your group? No, because you're not like busting match balls or you're not like taunting Rob Conley or somebody else.
Mhm.
You don't have that interaction, but you still can have the game going. So, talking about a game going, um, and talking about apparently Swords and Wizardry Light, there is somebody in
Mhm.
Murfreesboro who can't figure out what the hell is going on in the world of gaming.
Mhm.
Somebody, I know, this is today's earlier video. Somebody who apparently has to keep on creating new publishing companies because
Oh dear.
as each one fails, they have to reinvent themselves. And they like pretending that they're a fiction writer, and I guess whatever excites you. If it makes if it makes you happy, and you can live out your fantasies, please do so. But started stirring some shit with if Frog God is selling swords and wizardry to another company.
Mm.
Um, that I read that tweet was sent to me by somebody in Frog God because they were like, huh? And I looked at it and I went, oh, I know Murfreesboro. I know exactly who this is. Dave, sometimes known as
Ah,
George Johnson.
ah.
Yeah. So, the grifter in chief wit. No, no, no. This is. By the way, folks, just so you know, I didn't even realize that Dave Johnson was the same person who was light tracing Lloyd Metcalf's artwork
Mm-hmm.
and then
Yeah.
selling the prints.
Yes.
Lloyd found out. I found out. I talked about it, and then I get a Facebook direct phone message, and I pick up most of these. Don't know why, but I figured, no, it's got and uh, I didn't do what you say I did. I didn't. I go, listen. There's realizing that this is the artist, and again, I didn't know it was the same Dave Johnson until I dealt with Dave later. But I was like, dude, the evidence is obvious. And as we're going back and forth, his wife starts threatening to sue my ass in the background. And
Uh-oh.
I told Dave straight out, apparently you can't keep your family members quiet. So if that's what she's saying, our conversation is over. Please talk to my attorney. And then I heard some words going from Dave toward his wife as I ended the call, which I'm not going to repeat, but I think he
Oh.
meant them. So I have a longer history with Dave Johnson than I thought I did. But it also means that Dave Johnson doesn't have, it's an observation, doesn't have a unique thought of their own. Copying another artist's artwork. What's that classic Lee Gold newsletter, Mike?
Oh, alarms and excursions.
Right. So this person had the not alarms and excursions. The because she spelled it like the British way. He
Right.
spelled it alarms and I don't know and visitors.
Discoursions or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, but working off of somebody else's, like, oh, well, this is that same thing that we used to always read, right? No, no, it isn't. Also, the same author that was going to be used to write Star Frontiers. Again, not a unique thought in this person's head. They like to. So I think this was a unique thought, right? That somehow here I am. By the way, Swords of Wizardry was no longer a Frog Eye game for years, so this person has no clue and is apparently not wired into the gaming community at all. But trying to stir shit now. I'm not trying to stir shit with me, with Don, with both of us. Maybe they think that they're going to get hired by Frog God because that's certainly the way to do it. I mean, that's how you make yourself presentable.
You gotta understand this guy. So he's extremely untalented. He's more untalented than really most of us here that are either speaking or listening because he can't really create any content that's not absolute garbage. He doesn't know art. His art's all AI or it's traced. He can't write. His writing is awful. It's barely one step above AI. Matter of fact, it might be AI.
At this point, I think
Yeah,
it
might be. So he's an incredibly untalented human being who, God bless his soul, he wants to succeed in something or do something, but he's just not equipped for it. He needs to be on a paper route or filling your order at, McDonald's, or, I mean, not that those are terrible jobs. Just that's about all the mental capacity this human being has. He's just not very, he's not, in my opinion, he's not very smart. He's absolutely not talented at all. And he doesn't really have capacity for, creativeness, any kind of creative writing or whatever. So he pretty much, it'd be bad enough that, it's okay. Like he's just not talented, needs to stay in his lane. But then he throws the offensive stuff up on his webpage, and then he deletes it all, and then he tried to buddy up Lanasa. They were, he work for Lanasa for a while doing something supposedly.
Oh yeah, he was doing the Star Frontiers game.
Yeah,
and
right.
Then he didn't know who he was sending it to, and I've got stories of some screw ups on Dave Johnson.
Yeah, he's just, like I said, just an incredibly untalented human being. Just absolutely. I mean, like I said, I'm looking at all the names in our comment, and I'm thinking every single person here has more talent in their pinky than he does in his whole ridiculous body. So it's just, it's funny that he's trying to pop up again and do something. He tried to contact companies that we know and say, hey, I'm in the proofreading business. You guys need any business? And of course, in the IMs and emails he sends, he's misspelling words when he's trying to tell him he's a proofreader, and he's misspelling words and committing grammar mistakes and punctuation mistakes. So, it's just not a good advertisement for your skills.
His current website, which I covered in earlier videos, I'm not going to pull it up again, but the first big paragraph sounds awkward but has proper grammar. The last sentence has two typos in it. Get free products for singing up to the news.
Well, it's because when you use spell check, that doesn't come up, Eric. It's a correctly spelled word. So spell check doesn't spot that.
That's if you are an editor or a proofreader, spell check is not your friend. Spell check.
No, you have to go way beyond spell check. Yeah, spell check will hurt you if it's by the way, and somebody who one of the companies I will leave unnameless that Dave contacted told me it was the worst website he'd ever seen. So just if Dave's watching, I just want you to know this is something a company told me that was the absolute worst website they've ever seen. So you might, look, we're not all meant to be creative. God knows, I try and I'm okay. I do all right, but really shouldn't just. Oh dear. He doesn't know how to lay anything out. Look, that's not even laid out properly.
Why? How do you read that text? I mean,
You can't.
This is somebody's brain that
This person, the world needs McDonald's workers. The world needs, sweepers. The world needs people to clean out toilets. That's nothing terrible about those professions, and that's about what he's skilled for. So that's really what he needs to be doing, is something not creative and something that's more along his skill level. And I think everything will be fine. And then also I would also advise this person to stay off. I advise them to stay off social media, because they don't know how social media obviously knows how it works. You don't make friends by posting swastikas on your
no.
That's just it's a no. Even if it's in a giggly, I'm going to do something bad way, it's not funny. It's not funny, and it's not. You think you're being edgy. It's not edgy. It's just stupid. So I don't even want to talk about this. Do we have to talk about this person anymore? Because it's depressing. It's just really depressing, because it's just somebody that doesn't. It's like you see a guy and it's like we all know this guy. We all know a guy who is probably an okay guy, but he just his reach outseeds his grasp, as the poet says. He just wants to do something. He's just not skilled enough to do it. And you just feel embarrassed for him. I don't really feel embarrassed for this person, because this person's really not a very good human being. But it's still embarrassing to see how lousy they are at doing anything creative, and trying to pass it off as, hey, I can proofread your stuff. Of course, I'm going to spell all the words wrong in my email here, but ugh. Yeah, that's I was kind of hoping we'd seen the last of this person and they would just fade away and go get a job, making donuts or something. Although I like donuts, I would he might screw up a donut, so maybe he shouldn't be making donuts because I enjoy a good donut. So maybe that's. And also, I've said this before. I'm remarkably racist when it comes to donuts. I only like Asian donuts. If I walk in a donut shop and there's not an Asian in there, I walk right. I literally turn around, walk out. The only people who know how to make good donuts, I'm sorry, are Asians. So yeah, Dave probably wouldn't even be a good donut maker. I wouldn't eat his donuts. So he's not Asian, so I'm not eating donuts. Sorry, Dave.
All right. So let's go from Dave to.
Can we go to the goofball controversy of the day or the week?
Yeah.
By the way, it wasn't Watsy this time. It's their buddies Wiz kids that decide to take that pooch and screw it. They screwed the pooch here. And
so now I'm looking closely at this figure here.
Okay.
Because Larry's webpage allows you to zoom in, and look at those calves. Look at those.
But by the way, can I read you what Larry wrote about this picture real quick, or this painting?
Yes, please.
I recently was asked a question about the ancient red painting I did for the cover of the Red Box edition. Did you paint a male or female? It's a man. Gary didn't know what he wanted. All he wanted was something simple that would jump out at you. He wanted a male warrior. If it was a woman, you would know it because I'm pretty famous for painting women. He is. For this specific painting, while I hide the face of the warrior so it's anonymous, it was painted as a man. You can interpret it however you want, for that is the magic of art. But I'm answering a question that was asked without context. Now, the dragon, on the other hand, ... So he ends with a funny there. So, I never thought this was anything but a dude. But it's not like I sat there and studied. I didn't have the poster on my wall or studied or whatever. But I guess it doesn't really matter to me. It's pretty obvious it's a dude. And as Larry said, he's very famous for painting really attractive women. His women are not ripped and buff. They're extremely good looking, extremely attractive, and their butts, their calves look kind of different. They're it's just a different style the way he does women. Yeah, give me an Elmore woman. Give me an Elmore female, and I'll.
All right, now, folks, this is the original.
Okay, there.
When I say this is the original, this is the one that Larry kind of did as a quick sketch, and Gary went, "Oh, it's too busy." So
too much stuff
now.
Going on, yeah.
Too much stuff going on. Now, let's. I don't want to be sexist, but let's go back to the time when this was being done. You've got a female caster. You've got two other characters there.
Yeah.
What are the odds that you're going to have two women and one guy in your gaming party that they're going to show here on a game that's aimed for? Back then, the marketing was.
The cover, the Arrow Lotus's cover for Basic had a female mage in that cover. The Dungeon Master's Guide cover had a female thief, who is fighting the genie. So it wasn't like they would never include a female,
right? But were the majority of characters on the cover female?
No, they never were because your game at that time, boy, you think it's bad now. It was probably 95% male back in those days. It just wasn't a game that girls were interested in or women were interested in. I mean, of course, we all have stories about women we played with, but for the most part, most women wouldn't be caught dead playing D&D. So
no.
Yeah. So anyway, so this painting has been around for 40 years or whatever. So Whiz Kids is doing a set of retro minis or whatever. So they're taking some famous scenes. They're doing all kind of, like they have minis for all the D&D kid characters. Remember the TV show? I mean, they're doing like kind of a retro thing. But by the way, which is more than Watsy's done so far. They're doing more right now than Watsy's done for the 50th anniversary. But I digress. But so they said, so they came out with this really clickbaity title that said, "The final mystery of D&D has been solved 50 years later." And I'm like,
right.
Okay, there's a mystery I didn't know about that's been solved, or that I wasn't interested in. Okay, let's see what this mystery is. Well, the mystery was you couldn't see the character's face. WizKids reveals it's a female fighter. You thought it was a male those years. You poor, ridiculous, idiotic person. It was actually a chick. So they turn it around. They show it's a female fighter. So their miniature is a female miniature. I mean, yeah, it's not a big. I mean, whatever. It's not a big deal, except that Larry said no, it was a male, and it's pretty obviously a male. So I'm sitting there looking at. So my first thought is it's clickbait, right? It's just clickbait. That they're doing this for controversy. They're going to get lots of clicks because people are going to scream and yell about it. Oh my God, how dare they do this? And so I just made a point with myself. I'm not going to care about this because I'm not going to give WizKids what they want. Because what WizKids want is me to angrily post on 20 different Facebook things about how terrible this is that they create a female character. And of course, all it's going to do then is people go, oh, I want to go buy it now because WizKids. I mean, so that's why this was done, folks.
Ooh,
this was done for nothing more than wow.
So, that is way too appropriate. Way too appropriate.
That this was done just to get the grognard riled up, so he'll go all over the social media and all over the internet and go, oh my God, how dare they do this? Yeah, blah blah. I'm going to tell you the best strategy for dealing with this. Ignore it. Just ignore it. Look, if you want to make a statement with your wallet and just don't buy it. It's just because it's just dumb. It's just dumb they're doing this. They're doing this for no other reason to get you riled up and to get you all excited so you can go on social media and scream and cry and yell, that's a man. We all know it's a man. And Larry knows it's a man. I know it's a man. Eric knows it's a man. We all know it's a male character. If WizKids wants to make a female, fine. I just don't care.
But you're not solving a mystery. It was never a mystery.
It was never a mystery. Of all the mysteries of D&D, this was not a mystery. Nobody ever said, boy, the mystery of what the character's face looks like.
Wait. Larry Elmore drew this. It's a guy. I don't see a shapely butt. I don't see,
definitely not.
And I don't see that like cherub face. It's who would ever think? Well, all right, maybe we'll delve into politics if we go any further.
This was done for the sole purpose. Seriously, it's done for the sole purpose of getting people riled up enough to comment on it so they can get free pub. And that's what a lot of companies look. They know people hate watch stuff. They know people. I know people that there was a really, really terrible Scooby-Doo show called Velma that came out last year, and for some reason it got greenlighted for a second system. It got universal panning from everybody: white, black, straight, gay, trans, male, female, young, old. Everybody hated this thing. And I know people, I'm not kidding you, Eric, they hate watched it. They would watch it because they hate it so much just to look at how terrible it was. And that's a thing called hate watching. They would hate watch Velma because it was so bad. It was that bad. It was so miserably awful. Well, this strikes me as, we hope people hate talk about this. We want them to talk about it and to hate on it because, it's like Jerry Jones. What does he always say about the Cowboys? I don't care if you love them. I don't care if you hate them, as long as you talk about them. And that's exactly what this is. This is, I don't care. They don't care if you like it or don't like it. They just want you to talk about it.
Yeah. And
yes. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. Yeah. Clickbait, move along, citizens, go back to your lives. Nothing to see here. That's the way I'm treating this. I looked at it. I go, that's the stupidest thing I ever saw. And then I saw Larry's response and I moved on. And some people were like, well, Larry just drew the picture. He doesn't have any say about how it's interpreted, And I thought that I did see a smattering of comments on social media. I thought Jolly had a pretty funny reply to that. He said, dude, if Larry says it's a male, it's a male. I mean, he drew the picture. Because what? Because Jolly's an artist too. He knows what he means. I mean, yeah. Jolly's been doing Knights of the Dirty over 300 issues. You're not going to tomorrow go, I think the character Sarah is really an alien, and Jolly's going to say, no, it's a girl. No, you're wrong, Jolly. It's an alien. I know it's an alien. Jolly knows. Jolly draws the damn strip. Don't tell him that that Sarah's an alien. And so, yeah, don't tell me this is supposed to be, even though that Larry says it's a male, don't tell me like, well, it could be anything. You could interpret it however. No,
Well,
no,
they give
it's
it back to you, and those calves. Well, although those calves are manly calves, it's a fantasy, and she could have manly calves. I was like,
there's a creep, and I tell you what, the creepiest posts I've seen in a long time, by the way, are the people who feel obliged to say this, and I don't know why, but they're on social media going, I always did get a little turned on looking at that character from behind. I knew it was a woman. I'm like, okay, you're
or
sharing a little too much. You're sharing way too much. TMI. There's plenty of really attractive females that are
that's not
actually
one of them.
that are females that are in fantasy, arts. If you want to see them, look at a Clyde Caldwell painting, or a Jeff Easley painting, or if you want to see a really hot or attractive female fantasy girl, there's lots of sources, but not from behind a dude. And if you want to say that turns you on, I have no problem with that. I don't kink shame. You do you. Whatever. But that is the creepiest thing to share. And Eric, I'm going to tell you right now, I've seen multiple people sharing that sentiment. I don't understand why.
They could also be saying, "I always knew it was a guy, and it always excited me." I mean, who cares?
It doesn't bother me. Like I said, no kink shaming here. You do what you like. You do what you want. Whatever.
I mean, listen. If the cover was drawn in 2020 or painted or whatever you want, if that cover was done in 2024, you know what? I'd flip a coin, male, female, if it lands on its edge, who knows? But this was done in what, like 1981?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's early 80s. Yeah, early 80s.
It was done 40
83.
years ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's put yourself back 40 years ago.
By the way, Wiz Kids, it's not a 50-year mystery, because guess what? 50 years ago is 1974. This was created like 1984 or 83, 84. So they don't even know what they're talking about.
You're full of shit. Here's the 50-year mystery is, does Watsy even give a shit about their 50th anniversary?
No, they haven't so far. Are they going to do something? Maybe later on in the year they might care about it. They haven't cared about it yet. I don't know.
Take yourself back to the early 80s. Who was playing D&D back then? And if you tell me, well, there were lots of girls. There were certainly females playing. Women, girls.
We had one. It was a friend's girlfriend. I told the story before. That he brought her to a group. He bought her to play. He didn't like it. He quit after 2 sessions. She played with us for 2 years. It was hilarious. He got so mad at that. He's like, "Oh, my girlfriend played D&D with you last weekend." Yeah, she did. It was awesome. I don't like that game. Well, your girlfriend loves it. She plays an archer. She played an archer. She plays a female archer. She kick ass. Well, I don't like the game. So yes, we had a girl, but for the most part, it was a bunch of pimply, overweight, white dudes around the table, and one chick.
So just as a side note, one of our viewers is actually in the Tavern's Discord. I know, folks. I gotta. And he points out, fun fact about Larry's picture on the red box and subsequent Beck Me box art. The character is all the same guy in every piece of art in all the boxes. He evolves from basic fighter to immortal.
Very cool. Yes, because he's got that beard, right? The same bearded guy in all the pictures. Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Go figures. Now,
or is it beard? I can't remember. I'm trying to remember. I gotta look at the covers to remind myself.
Hold on. Hold on. I gotta find it. I do too. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm trying to find it myself. I want to look at the back of these sets here.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I got something. I got something better. I got something better. I got something from 2023. I know. Yes, I got some
Well,
from
well, the
23.
expert rules set also has a fighter, but from the rear also. So maybe the guys that got turned on by the first one got turned on by that one too, and then they were just confused, you know. So they're like, I don't know,
Always confused.
maybe I'm not straight. Not if there's anything wrong with it. You can, whatever,
Okay, so
whatever
what
you
is
want to roll.
what is what was this is from Super 7. These are collectibles from I believe 2022 or
Uh
2023.
oh, oh.
Formidable fighter action figure. Who was it based on? It's based on the fighter fighting the red dragon. They got it with a B. They or this was decided last year, but now it's been redecided. It's been
Well,
that is an
but
elect-
this because this wasn't WizKids, man. Come on, this is another company. WizKids
yeah.
has their own interpretation about the hidden secrets of 50 years ago.
We didn't
You
know.
know,
Well, we knew, but we're gonna check. Don't look at that. Get it off your screen. That's not allowed. That's
do we blame? So
is.
is this? Do we blame? This isn't a WotC clown, right? This is just WizKids clowning themselves. I mean, WotC didn't have anything to do with this clowning, right? I like to
Listen.
blame WotC for most things, but I don't think we can blame WotC for this,
mm,
can we?
I think if they're selling it as hey, this is a secret for 50, 40, however many years, I think that WotC has a little bit of a responsibility
They should have
to
said something like, you need to change it. First of all, it's not been 50 years, dumbasses, because you can't do math, number one. And number two, Larry Elmos here, it's a dude. So we appreciate you trying to bring representation to D&D. But you know what? There's female characters you could have done, that would have been awesome too. So why don't you just do a female character and not pretend like this man's a female, so.
Yes, there were a lot. Actually, Larry did a lot of female characters on Dragon magazine covers.
He did
Awesome covers.
tons.
You didn't
Beautiful
have to
cover.
go with this. You didn't have to go with the let's neuter the male. Hey, can we geld him and put him in a bikini? Yeah, that always works. I don't think no, Watson doesn't run with kids. I think.
Well, now what they've done, you see what they've done is this is going to be one of the 10 secret rare miniatures in the D&D icons. They just made this one the most valuable one, right?
Mhm.
They're smart. I mean, maybe this is great marketing because now everybody's got to have the female fighter that's supposed to be a male. So I mean, this is all marketing. Folks, this is clickbait marketing. Is it
a sex? Is this like? Never mind. I'm going to go into politics if I do this. I'm going to stay away from that. But that is, listen. If you want stupid, you can't get much more stupid than that. And listen, we're going to do this. Hey, we're going to base this on this. Is the artist still alive? Yeah, Larry's still alive. Let's ask Larry. Hey, Larry. We know, we've heard that you did all these great, beautiful women, on your artwork, and this one is from behind, and it ain't that beautiful, but it's a woman, right? What are you, blind? I can't do his Kentucky accent, but he'd be like,
wow, y'all can't blind. By the way, so if you
are
go,
you blind?
the best part of the forums is going on there and people stating that Elmore doesn't know what he painted. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's the best part. Elmer doesn't. I mean, I see that. Yeah, Larry. What is he talking about? Why is he so sexist? He doesn't know he painted a woman. What's wrong with him? I mean, I'm seeing those takes. Those are the takes I see. He's so weird. But 1%, he's just weird. Why is he so weird about paint? He painted a woman. Why is he weird about it? Well, because he's weird about it because he says he painted a dude. And then somebody, some of the forums I had pretty good idea. Why don't you just offer a male and a female version? That would be cool because then it would get two figures they have to pay $1 bajillion for. It's going to be $200 a piece for it, whatever they're going to go in the secondary market. I'm going to guarantee, Eric, they're going to go for at least $100 in the secondary market, probably more than that. I really think that it's going to go for quite a bit of money in the secondary market. This is how you create an instant collectible. This is how you do an instant collectible.
So now there are more miniatures, by the way, that are licensed from WotC for the 50th anniversary. And they are classics reimagined or something like that, which I know sounds familiar, but
Right.
it
Oh yeah,
is
yeah. Let's talk
the
about this a little bit
AD&D,
too.
the
Yeah.
AD&D, the Monster Manual monster next to from AD&D 1E next to the fifth edition version of the
Right.
monster.
And
So
by the way, in 90% of the cases, the original looks kick ass, and the fifth edition one, you're like, yikes, no.
yeah, I'd run away because it looks
Look at the
stupid.
pit fiends. Look at the pit fiends. The original pit fiend looks badass. The 5e one looks like he's been doing creatine and ripping and pumping iron. I mean, it's just silly. You know,
Yeah, it's
he
like
looks ripped. He looks like he's been ripped. You know, so I mean,
uh
it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. I appreciate the idea. It's just that they unintentionally are showing how interesting and cool and unique the original monsters were in the Monster
yeah.
Manual, and how the newest ones are just kind of like meh. They're just kind of very traditional, not very unique, just very blah. You know, I think the only one I liked the new one better was the Blake Dog. Might have been the only one that, because I'm trying to remember. I got it. I should pull up a picture of it. I can't remember. But I think the Blake Dog was cool, but other than that, yeah, the original looks better in 90% of the cases.
Yeah, no.
So gun. So I took graduate school. I was an English major, English master's degree, and you understand there's a whole theory in art and especially in writing, is that once this is the theory, deconstructionism. Once the writer creates art, he's done with it. It doesn't matter what his intent is. It matters that what happens is it matters what the reader assigns that what the reader thinks. It doesn't matter what the writer can say. I'll give you an example. So we were studying criticism of like Ernest Hemingway, and for those who read The Sun Also Rises, which is a great book, it's about a guy who's he has a war wound that makes him impotent. He's impotent and he has a girlfriend, but he can't consummate. So they have this love-hate relationship where they can never consummate the relationship. It's kind of depressing, really sad. So, you know, obviously, so because of his experiences of World War I, Hemingway wrote this, you know, because he saw this happen to people. He saw people get injured really badly and hurt. And so this is about his experience in World War I, you know, and he knew that, you know, bad things could happen to people. So we were reading criticisms by people like, no, that's not what Hemingway meant. And they would go on these long tortured explanations that, because there's one scene where there's a traffic cop, he's raising his hand. He goes, that is symbolic of the erection the man is having as he's talking to the girl. And I'm like, I'm going to say with almost perfect certainty that's not what Hemingway. And when he put that in there, and our teacher would laugh about it too. Goes, yeah, this is just showing you that these people have to write. They have to come up with something new. And so when they're doing their dissertation, they have to think of something like, what can I do a dissertation on? I'll do it on how Hemingway's supposedly impotent character really isn't impotent. And so, you know, even though Hemingway said his character had a war wound and couldn't perform. So, but that is a perfectly valid field of criticism in writing, is that no, we don't care what the writer said. We're going to interpret it how we want to do it. So this is kind of the same academia weirdness, you know. And by the way, I just to let you know, a lot of professors would teach us stuff very tongue in cheek, because they were they were like you and me. They're like, yeah, if the artist said this is what it means, this is probably what it means. I know some pointy head egghead over here says it means something different, but you know, if the artist said this, it probably means that. So I'm just saying most of the professors would present it very tongue in cheek and kind of wink, like, oh, the guy said this, you know, and we'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, yeah, but these guys have to get a dissertation and they have to think of a subject that hasn't been done before. And so, you know, I mean, one of the girls in my class did a dissertation on how Fatal Attraction. It was something about Victorian literature and Fatal Attraction.
Oh,
and I actually read her dissertation. It was interesting, but she somehow related Fatal Attraction to Victorian literature. And you know, there's a trope in Victorian literature. It's called Mad Woman in the Attic, because every Victorian novel has this crazy woman they lock in the attic, and it was basically showing you how women were treated back then. You know, oh, she has the humors, just lock her in the attic or the basement or whatever. And so the girl did a dissertation on did her dissertation on fatal attraction in Victorian literature. Just showing you sometimes you just got to choose a subject nobody else is going to choose, man. You've got to get something that nobody else is going to do. So you have to really scrape and look underneath rocks to find subjects to write on. So anyway, so this strikes me as the same thing. It's like, yeah, we kept this set. There's really nothing controversial or weird about it. I got an idea, guys. Let's say this obviously male person is a female. And they're like going, oh, money, money, money. And they're going, this will sell for hundreds of dollars on the secondary market.
And I will buy a bunch of myself at home.
We're gonna make some extra ones, and I'm gonna put in like Ken Whitman did those cards that time.
I can just see a Cartman now. Put a chick in it. South Park.
Lame and gay. Make her lame and gay.
Yeah, make it lame and gay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, don't fall for it, folks. If don't get sucked into arguments on social media about this, just because believe me, when I was reading this article in N-World, I got sucked in for a while because the people's takes were so terrible. I mean, N-World's better than the RPG.net, which is a cesspool, absolute cesspool. I mean, you will catch gonorrhea just clicking RPG.net. If you click it and go to the site, you will have either syphilis, gonorrhea, or herpes. But within 5 minutes, it doesn't matter if you're wearing protection or not. In-world's not quite as bad, but you get some people on there. Like I said, that's where you find people like Larry doesn't know what he was doing. Larry has no say in what we interpret his artwork like.
Right, but they'll say it in a nicer way because they're a little bit more moderated. In-world, where it is a place on a good day, it is in a swamp and it's actually a nice place.
I think it's called outrage farming, right? Outrage farming. That's I think the kids call it now, where you deliberately create outrage so people will get all excited and post articles about how dare they. Elmore said it was a man. How dare they say it's a woman? I say. So
yeah,
don't fall for it.
Jackson, hold on. Just
to
let you know,
you just checked in.
Yeah, we just took it off the screen, but we were showing that figure. But what does Larry know? I mean, come on.
Larry just drew it, man. Larry doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, come on.
And by the way, too, the people some people are really hammering Larry for, him saying that. Look, I don't know if you've talked to Larry. See, I saw Larry at GaryCon. He's older now, and he's having a lot of issues with his memory. And so, don't beat the guy up. He's a living legend, and he's part of our hobby. And so the people that are just jumping all over him are just ridiculous. They don't know what he's going through right now. He has a lot of health issues, and so it's just Anyway, the disrespect being shown towards Larry is just ridiculous because they don't know what Larry did for the look. So for those the quick history lesson, there was basically so the first artist that TSR had, they just were grabbing people. The guy Bell that did illustrations for the brown box, white box, they're really bad. He was doing a lot of tracing, a lot of swiping. He's not a very good artist. He wasn't a very good artist. He probably would tell you that. I don't know. He's still alive. But the first wave, you had guys like, Jeff D, Errol Otis, Dave Sutherland. This is like the first wave, and their artwork was very unique. They did some really, Darlene. They did most of the artwork in the first, couple of monster manuals. Tramp was in there too. But then you had this, what they call the second wave. The second wave was Caldwell, Easley, Elmore, and Parkinson. Now those guys were, Look, I'm not saying Otis is a bad artist. He's not. His stuff is very unique and very interesting, but it's not what you would call. I don't know how to put it. It's not what you call poster art, I guess. What would be the word?
It doesn't really convert to a poster.
Yeah, it's just cool and unique and weird. He had all the weird helmets and the weird weapons and the weird stuff, and then Jeff D stuff. Jeff D has always had a very comic book. Good bookie style, which I like because I like Jeff's a lot. Jim Rosloff was one of the artists then. They had a distinctive style, but it was very old schoolish, Look at the covers for I don't have with me, like D1, D2, D3. They're very evocative. Those are the but they're just, they're not poster art type stuff. When you brought Caldwell in there and Easley and Elmore and Parkinson, that was poster art. The cover for T1 through 4, the Dragonlance series covers. I mean, that stuff was wow. That was wow stuff. And so the second wave of artwork really, I mean, I don't know if the Dragonlance series would have been as popular without the Elmore covers. I really don't. Because what leads you to pick up a book you've never heard of and a series you've never heard of before? You look at the cover and like, oh, it's something about dragons of spring dawning, and there's a cool dragon on here and a couple warriors, and it looks, the covers really sold those books to the public that didn't know. And there's a reason. Look, there's a reason Weiss and Hickman had Elmore do the cover for every book they ever wrote, not just the Dragonlance. Anytime they did a book together, they brought in Larry, because his pictures sell books, And the same with Easley and Parkinson and Caldwell. And so, he really those 4 artists I just mentioned, they elevated our hobby. They took it was, the art. Like I said, I'm not saying anything against D and Otis and all them. I love their artwork. It just wasn't the kind of poster quality artwork that kind of took the next step. And because then it starts getting really slick. And then you have, then you go into the 90s, you have like Fred Fields and, guys like that. I mean, it's really slick at this point. It looks extremely professional, extremely, like these guys, Todd Lockwood, all those guys, you have, and of course now you have a lot of guys getting back to that style, the Otis D, Rosloff style, but they're specifically doing it for a point. They're saying, look, we want our stuff to look old school. We want it to look cool and not quite as polished and old school. But those 4 guys I mentioned, they brought the hobby to it. They raised it up. They raised the bar. Let's put it that way. I mean, they were all professional artists that pretty much raised the bar in terms of, wow, that's why TSR sold so much stuff. It looked good on the shelf. You'd walk by a TSR module and you'd be like, wow, an Elmore cover, that's awesome. Or an Easley Dragon, that is kick ass, And so that would get you to buy their product. And that was that, so these guys deserve respect. Elmore and them, they, especially like I said, Elmore was probably the biggest of all 4 of them. But, I mean, I love Parkinson's has some of the best stuff ever. I mean, some of Parkinson's stuff is incredible. But the late Parkinson, who unfortunately passed away, but yeah, his stuff is incredible. So, look here, Sigway artists compete each other. Going against the Dragon. That's true. Yes, very much so. Mensa Red Box, but blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Oh, with some great comments here. This is very true.
Yeah, multi-basic.
Everybody has a good take. These are all takes. I like the Dennis Beauvoir stuff is really good too. Yeah, Dennis Beauvoir is still creating art, by the way. He's a Canadian still doing some really, really interesting art. He's the one that did those really cool Dragon magazine chess covers. The white and the black chess pieces would be fighting and stuff.
Oh, okay, yes.
But he did some really. He did one of the issues of Gygax magazine. He did like a return to the chess pieces, which is really cool. But his stuff still looks great. His Dennis stuff still looks awesome.
I always wanted to build my own 3D chessboard, and then realized I didn't want to build a 3D chessboard.
You just realized you didn't want to play 3D chess. Like, oh man, I got to think in 3 dimensions.
Oh, I got three dimensions.
Wait, the knight up here is going to take the rook down here. Oh my God, no, I can't. I can't.
Wait, I didn't see that properly. Spot, please show me how to play this. Oh my God.
Yeah, but the second wave of artists that really took it off. Like I said, that's why these guys are getting older, but you really have to respect what Easley and Elmore and I don't want to say they took the hobby out of the sewer because it was never in the sewer, but they did elevate it. It was here and they brought it up to here in terms of the artwork. And by the way, TSR was just very lucky to get these guys Yeah, and basically do this because look at the artwork on other products at the same time. It's not the same. One of these things is not like the other. The artwork for TSR was nowadays it's much different. If you look at stuff, WotC doesn't necessarily have the best art out there. I mean, they can hire people, but the other companies have some great artwork. I mean, it's not just all WotC. Back in the old TSR days, they had a stranglehold on the art. The only other artist that I thought was really good was the Merp stuff. Who did those Merp covers? Those were incredible.
The Merp stuff was good, and some of the Mayfair stuff was good because the Mayfair, like they would get like Vallejo covers that were used elsewhere, and they would get like the second.
Oh yeah, what was the female artist that did a bunch of stuff? I can't remember her name. Yeah, they had some really, and it was funny because it was like painting a lipstick on a pig because they had these great covers, and the adventures were like meh. But they had some incredible the Mayfair stuff. There was some incredible covers on that. But yeah, the interiors. Once you got to the adventure, you're like, oh, this is not even as good as TSR. Yeah, not anywhere as good as TSR stuff. So
yeah,
there's only a couple Mayfair items that were any good, that I remember.
Well, one that wasn't very good was the City State. I don't was my own because I bought it from somebody whose wife was making them sell their collection, and I was like, oh, this actually does happen. I found somebody.
Yeah, I remember hearing that story before about why that stuff was so bad because the whole Mayfair somehow got the rights to City State, and they came up with a whole series of modules, and they're all terrible. They're all just absolutely awful. And it was like they don't have anything to do with the original City State.
We just want the name. We just want the name.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the
you're right.
Details.
Yeah, Angus McBride. Angus McBride did those just amazing Merc covers, and so that was his stuff was really, really good. He did some, but other than that, I'm trying to think. Most of the third party stuff back then, or that wasn't really that great. It was okay. There was a couple of good Call of Cthulhu covers. I thought the box set cover was really good. That was by a professional comic book artist. That was by Gene Day, who was a comic book artist. But for the most part, yeah, they the other companies just did not have access to the artwork that TSR did. Robin Wood, yes, Robin Wood. Who was the other female artist that was really big? There was another female artist that was really big that did a bunch of Mayfair stuff. So yeah, don't overlook art when it comes to success of product. Believe me. I mean, that's why. Look, we've been very lucky. Frog God Games is very lucky. Artem Shuda. I mean, Casey Christopherson teaches art school in Wichita, Kansas, and finds these young artists that are just absolutely incredible. The cover for Rapid Ath. I mean, the cover for almost all our stuff are done by these guys that are like kids. They're like 18 to 25 years old. And the thing is, you got to get them young when they're just happy to get a paycheck. Because once they hit 24, 25, they realize how good they are. They go work for professional companies. That they're gone. They're not doing art for your D&D modules anymore. And so Frog God's been very lucky to get some real. Artem's probably he's one of my favorites. The guy Chang, I can't remember his first name. He's just I met him once. Nicest guy. He's a Asian dude, just kick ass. I mean, his stuff's kick ass too. But these guys, they all started out just drawing in his art class. He's like, hey, would you like to do fantasy art? Because your stuff's pretty good. And then some of them were so young they had to have their mothers sign their contract because they were too young to, like 17 years old. They couldn't sign a contract. But I don't. Now that's one thing. I don't have any Frog Gods thing here near us. So I can't show you any of the art I'm talking about. But yeah, I think that helped Frog God stuff a lot, having the really, really professional art that we had. And look at Paizo. I mean, Paizo had great art for their covers. They're the same thing. I mean, Todd Lockwood did a lot of WotC stuff. I'm sorry. Who was the big Paizo artist? I can't remember. But the Paizo stuff's great too. So, but I still look at stuff like that Holmes Blue Book cover, and I still love that art. I look at that old school art. And I know it's technically not good, but man, it's really evocative, isn't it? It just says something to you. It really does.
Wayne Reynolds is the Paizo artist.
That's it. Wayne Reynolds. Yeah. Wayne Reynolds has some great. Oh man, his style he has some great stuff too. It's kind of cool when they have kind of a house style because like Goodman uses Doug Kovacs because they kind of have that Kovacs Everything has that Kovacs look, and I love Kovacs stuff. It's a very pulpy style, which fits in good with DCC. So that's a case where the artist perfectly fit the material. But yeah, Wayne Reynolds stuff is really, really good.
No, I mean, that reminds me, and I haven't seen Doug in a number of years.
So I saw him at GaryCon. I talked to him. He's doing really good. I'm going to have him back as a special guest next year at North Texas. He is amenable to coming. We just after COVID and Doug, he was very close to Doug. Doug used to talk to him all the time. Once Doug passed away, he kind of was doing some stuff. I was doing some stuff, so I really didn't really catch up with him until this GaryCon. And I said, man, we'd love to have you back. He said, I'd love to come back. I love coming to Dallas. Like, oh, okay, well, let's make it happen, man. So we'll have Doug back next year. And Doug and he's a cool dude, man.
He really is.
Yeah, he's an interesting thing. He has a very
no. I'm not sure if this is my end or Mike's end.
No, he's not drinking as much. So
yeah, no, I still remember my first time actually meeting him, and he knew me from online. And we were talking, and we had breakfast together at the original hotel for North Texas.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And
yeah.
And he goes, you know, if I didn't already like you, I wouldn't like you. I go, why? He goes, because you're a fucking cop. I'm like, all right. And he goes, but you're not like any fucking cop I've ever known. I'm like, okay. So I like you. I'm like, all right, good. I'm glad we're on the same page. So and then Doug and I, and Doug will, Doug is funny because his sense of humor is very
it's very
but it's biting.
It's very dry. It's very Irish kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know, European sense of humor where it's, very tongue in cheek and very, you don't know if he's joking sometimes, and he is type of humor.
Yeah. I mean, another time I think at a game hall, it's like, hey, and we're talking. He goes, I really enjoy talking with you. I'm like, yeah, I enjoy talking with you too. He goes, but I really wish Rachel was here because she's just better.
Well, you know what? He wasn't wrong, Eric. He was not wrong.
I 100% had to agree. It's like, wow, I'm being I'm being complimented. And then told in comparison to my wife.
We'll get him back next year. He was a cool guy to have, and he runs DCC, and everybody says his stuff is great. He's a good DM. Everybody loves his DCC.
Oh my god!
So awesome. Yeah, we'll get him back for DCC. Yeah, we have to. We lost a lot of special guests this year. I'm a little bummed out because we had Easley cancel. We had Dennis Astaire cancel this week. Turned out Rebecca Heineman can't make it. So yeah, we've kind of bummed out. We've had so many special guests had to drop out this year, which kind of sucks. But I'm determined next year I'm going to have twice as many special guests. So if some of them drop out, we won't notice it. So I've got a list as long as your arm, Eric.
Which arm is it? Well, I shouldn't say which arm. Which hand? Because if you look at my hands, I've got one hand that's a little bit smaller than the other because I tore a ligament here I don't know, 10 years ago. So it's a good thing I'm a lefty. Trigger finger.
Well,
Chris, I haven't seen the new Audric Player's Guide. I got to take a peek at it.
Uh-oh.
It says it looks good.
Oh, I haven't seen it. Okay, I didn't even know this is out. Wow.
Joe, you volunteering to be a special guest?
Joe, you're just special. You don't have to be a special guest. You're just special. Okay. We just want you to show. We just want you to show, man. Do you really? I mean, 4 weeks we're going to be seeing all these guys. That's crazy.
I know.
And 4 weeks we're going to do that.
And that means, hold on to your hats.
Okay.
Most likely, 4 nights of live streaming from North Texas. It's the only con where I do 4 nights live. Okay, we're gonna have Talking Crit on Wednesday. right? We're going to have the whiskey tasting on Thursday. We'll have probably, I guess it's going to be Dungeons, Dragons, and Discourse. Glenn and myself and whoever else we grab on
Mhm.
Friday. Gamers Health on Saturday with Rach and I. And then, for what other convention gives you four nights of live stream?
Well, I always love our Wednesday night broadcast because we just sit there and just grab whoever comes by, and you
Yeah.
never know who's going to make a surprise appearance on our show. So,
Chris, old school convention in Southern California. Love to see us. The odds are stronger in California. Listen, I'm a New Yorker. We've got stuff in the general area, but New York City, Long Island, nothing. However, there is another retired NYPD sergeant who has a connection with a facility that is a minor league ballpark in New York City.
Christine,
And it's got 19 suites that we can use for gaming. So think of it this way: low noise.
interesting.
And
Well,
I do believe now, those of you who go, ballparks are expensive as all hell.
mhm.
Who can afford to go to a bowl game? Go to a minor league game. All right, this ballpark has on Wednesday night $2 hot dogs.
Oh,
Their,
nice. Yeah.
their beers are like $5 or $6, and I do believe that one of the things they're considering doing, if we can get this to happen, is to have the concessions open during the con.
Oh, okay. If you can afford it, yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, listen, if I could be at the convention and get a $5 beer, $6 beer, I'm happy.
Well, we've talked about this for years. I'd love to see you guys finally get something going up in New York. I know it's more difficult there due to any number of factors, financial being one of them, but also the
Mhm.
space available. Space available, it's different than down here, because you go to where the Westin is, there's
Right.
12 hotels right around it. I mean, that's all it is. It's all these hotels, and of
Mike,
course for Texas, there's all this
all our
space.
hotels are being turned into homeless centers for undocumented migrants.
Oh, so you really
Uh,
can't have kind of hard to have a
yeah, it's
game.
like, get them out of this hotel. We need to use it here, or teach them how to game. I don't know, but yeah, the facility is on Staten Island. I'm actually getting to the point where I think Rachel and I are going to go to a ball game out there one afternoon, scout it out. They do have Weenie Wednesdays, which and some of their Weenie Wednesdays you can bring your dog to the park.
Oh,
So
nice.
there's a 4:30 game, which we're thinking, or is it a 2:30 game? It's an early game that we're thinking we could possibly do it, and then I could still get home in time for the live stream.
Nice.
So
Well, they have.
check
I
with
tell you,
them.
one thing I missed by our show is every Wednesday night at the ballpark in Arlington, where the Rangers plays, they have dollar hot dog night, and I haven't been to one in like 3 years because we got this dang show. I can't go to a Wednesday.
Yeah, I know. God damn it, man! This show ruins everything, Mike.
Yeah, I messed it all up, man. It ruined everything for me. I can't go to dollar hot dog night now. That sucks, man. Come on.
What can I tell you? Chris, I can't help you with California. That's a bit.
Remember when they had Gen Con West and Gen Con East and all the Gen
Yeah.
Cons back in the 80s or the 90s when they had Gen Con in California? I can't remember where it was though. That was Gen Con West, and I don't remember where it was. So.
And they used to have Winterfest, right, or WinterCon.
Yes. And I don't remember where Gen Con East was either. I guess I would have to look that up. Somebody that knows more than I know.
I think it moved every year.
It might have. I'm looking it up on Wikipedia right now because that was back in the heyday when things were going crazy and they were having it all over the place. I mean, they had events everywhere, and that was back when TSR was kind of running Gen Con, and then things now it's more whatever consortium, whatever the hell it is. Let's see. Gen Con West was 76, 77, 78. It was in San Mateo.
Oh.
Okay. Well, okay, here's one, Eric. I bet you didn't know. How about Gen Con South in 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84? Jacksonville, Florida, Gen Con South. Did you even remember that or know about that?
No.
It was in February.
That's why I didn't know about it.
All right, Gen Con East, 81, 82 is in New Jersey one year and Pennsylvania the other year. And then they had Gen Con. Okay, how about this one? Gen Con Paris?
Paris.
Paris.
Wow.
Gen Con Barcelona, Gen Con UK. I remember Gen Con UK. So yeah, they've here it is, Gen Con SoCal. That was the later one. They had that 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. That was in Anaheim, which makes sense. Anaheim probably has a lot of areas you can have that kind of convention. So Gen Con has dipped their toes into being down there before. It's been a few years, and I don't think they ever. I was looking at the attendance. I don't think they ever had more than 10,000 at Gen Con, any of the other Gen Cons I mentioned. So it just didn't work out for them, I guess.
Oh, well.
Well, yeah, Anaheim. That's what I'm talking about, Chris, is the one in Anaheim. That was, I think that was Gen Con, whatever the hell it was. So all right, we're here talking about Gen Con. I guess we're talking about it.
We got one more piece of news to make.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. WotC announced that there will be an SRD for 5.2.
All right.
Now remember, this is and we got to go way back 10 years. Well, actually, go way back 8 years, right? Because it took them 2 years to get an OGL for 5e,
right?
Or it was well over a year. What they gave us were the basic rules, and they gave you the basic rules and said, here's the basic rules. We understand that you want an open game license and an SRD. So here's the basic rules, which is neither an open license nor is it a system resource document. But we know there are cheap motherfuckers out there that just want to play for free. And that's why you want an SRD. So
how dare you, sir?
Mm-hmm. Here is your basic rules. And people went, I don't want that fucking shit. I want an OGL. And they finally gave an OGL. So if you think that what happened at the end of 2022 isn't still reverberating now, they don't want to come back and come close to having that shit. They're already announcing that there will be an OGL within weeks after the Munster Manual's physical release.
I'm going to hold them to it. They're saying it. I'm going to hold them to it. Because they've been supposed to release the latest Creative Commons OGL or not OGL SRD since when? A year and a half now?
Well, okay. Now Tom has a question about that, and I'm gonna cover it real quickly. Okay. When they talk about putting the legacy SRDs into Creative Commons, they're not talking about 1E, they're not talking about Basic, they're not talking about 2E. They are talking about 3X. They are talking about the SRD for the modern rules and the future rules. That's what they're referring to.
Okay.
You're never, ever going to see an SRD for 1E. But if you want an SRD for 1E, go take Osric. Okay? Because Osric is under the open game license. It's 100% open. That's the point to it. Go take Osric. That's your SRD if you want an SRD for 1E. All right? I mean, somebody rebuilt. It had to be done by the community. And now why won't they ever give you an SRD for 1E or Basic or 2E? Because there's absolutely no money in it for them. Why feed the OSR? All right. They're claiming they will, after the release of the new SRD, go back and then release into Creative Commons the 3X and modern and future or whatever. But that's because those customers are probably still playing their 5e and they want to make them happy. But they don't give a fuck about any OSR player. Just saying. That's just pretty much out there.
Well, I mean, why would they though? I mean, seriously, it's not making them 2 cents. So they don't care. They're not going to help other game companies make money,
Yeah, and Chris, you're right. You can't run D&D with just the SRD. The SRD only has like what 1 feet in the whole damn thing. You have to make up all the feats. Okay, WotC didn't give you everything. They gave you enough that you can write compatible products.
Sure.
They weren't going to give you enough that you could rewrite the game. Now with 3E, 3E was a much more complete SRD for what I can gather. Because I still remember Creative Mountain Games offering class-related SR, books on that were just pulled from the SRD, and it was good stuff. You could run your character from that,
Right.
but could you do that now with 5E? I don't think so.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, you don't need any of this obviously to run a game, right? I mean,
No,
it's not important.
it's there.
But
The SRD is there for creators who want to make support material for.
yeah, but here's what. See, this is what gets me though. Has Wizards ever done legal action against anybody that published any game for any reason whatsoever, even ones that have made a point that I'm not going to use any kind of OGL or anything? They never have. And so it makes you wonder if it's just something they don't care about, because there's people out there that won't put the, the little blurb in the back that says this is.
Oh, and we're gonna go right now. We'll say right, Stars Without Numbers and the rest of the stuff by Kevin. Right? You look at that stuff and you go, this feels like D&D. This is OSR. But if you look, he's rewritten everything. It feels like D&D, but it also feels like, if you look at it closely, it's an impression of D&D. So it isn't. He did it the right way. If you're going to be like Kevin Crawford, that's the way to do it.
Right.
Others, I mean, Kevin's done enough business that I think that he would be in that position where if they didn't, if he was somebody they could put the kibosh on, I think they would have at this point. But Kevin is well educated and knows what he's doing and knows the market and did a great job with it. I have all of Kevin's core books because they are that good.
So that's what I'm saying. I wonder if that means. I wonder if this has to do with the fact that maybe we're just overanalyzing this too much. And I understand. Look, if you have a big company like Paizo or Frog or whatever, you can't take a chance that they might decide to make an example of you, even though they never have for any company. You can't take that chance. But if you're just Joe Schmo or you're me, or
if you want to get a cease and desist and go, all right, close up shop.
All right, I won't. I mean, Tom and I have done the basic expert modules. We've done 3 of them now, and this will be the 4th one we're doing. And we don't have any kind of anything in there about this is this and this whatever. We just do our own approximation of basic expert. What we just basically say, look, here's an old school written module. You can use basic expert with it, and we don't. We don't say anything specific. We don't use any Mistar. We don't say Mistar. We don't say any. We don't use any IP at all. We just say, look, here's a basic expert module you can use. Excuse me. Oh man, too much Diet Coke tonight. We don't use that. We don't, but we don't use any of that material. And like you said, I mean, so the worst that could ever happen, I guess, if WotC ever sent a cease and desist, we're like, all right, we won't publish it anymore. I mean, we're not making a living off of it. It's just something we're doing for the convention. So I guess it depends. I guess it boils down to how serious you are about making a living with something. And if you don't want to take the chance that gets interfered with, if they decide. But they never have. The whole thing is they've never have. The only person they've ever gone after is dumbass Justin because of what he did, which was, over the top. I mean, they had to shut that down. You can't say that I own these products that you own. You have to shut that down, so, I don't know that. I wonder if they would just ever actually go after somebody that didn't have the wording in there. I don't know because they never have. So,
Chris, so at the beginning of the show, we talk about how Swords and Wizardry Light, which I just linked somebody's digest-sized version of it, is going to be re-released as Blades and Sorcery Light. Because it's been out of print for a while. It's open content. We're rebranding it. We're going to be putting it out. Swords and Wizardry Light is 3 levels, 4 races. It will be 5 with the rebranding. We're going to add gnomes. 4 core classes. Used to be done in like really tight 4 pages. It's going to be digest size. It's going to be significantly more. It's going to be easy to read. No
Amen.
experience points. 2 sessions. Sorry, 2 adventures. You gain 2nd level, and 3 more adventures. You gain 3rd level, and if you want to go beyond that, we have Continual Light, which is more. But this is going to be pay what you want in PDF, nominal cost in print. It's literally being laid out as I speak, but if your friend's looking, that's something to look at. And I'll tell you, and we didn't mention this in the beginning, I wanted to get something back when I retired in 2016. My idea was I want a viral OSR rule set that can be handed to somebody, and if they're a lapsed gamer, they can go, "Oh man, this is all familiar, and it feels great." And if they're a new gamer, they can look at it and go, "Well, this isn't intimidating. I can figure this out." You use just a D20 and a D6. So if you want to do like dagger damage, it's D4 -1, minimum damage of 1.
Right.
If you're doing longsword, like the 2-handed sword damage or whatever, it's like D6 +1. Most weapons are D6. Most hit points are D6. Fighters get some +1s here or there. Mages get some -1s here or there. But it's a very simple system. And
I play with my grandkids all the time. We loved it.
Exactly.
We played all the time. We never had any issues. The kids understood it because it was only 2 pages. I mean, really, there's only 1 page of rules when it comes to characters. Really, I mean, everything else, the stuff the DM needs to know. The character, they only need to know what their character does.
So it's made to be an accessible system. And listen, my wife games, Rach games, there's no secret she's legally blind. So D10s and D8s look pretty much similar, even to inexperienced gamers with regular vision. So a D6 and a D20 made it very simple. And it made the math simple.
Yeah,
and my niece was just short of 6 years old when I got my author's copy. And I was like, "Hey, look at this." And her eyes lit up and she was like, "Uncle, that's only 4 pages. You can teach me to read 4 pages and then I can play Dungeons and Dragons."
Absolutely.
I mean, I think, listen, I enjoy options. I'm in a D&D 2E campaign right now with Joe the Lawyer. Just hit 6th level with my gnome priest. And believe you me, we're 20 pages of house rules. We get more house rules, and Joe just makes the font smaller. He refuses to go past 20 pages.
20 pages. You want to know how long my house rules is, Eric? It's 1 page.
There you go.
Probably just Joe's crazy. You don't need 20 pages of house rules, Joe. Just no. You don't.
So, Chris, I appreciate it. Thank you. Like I said, the light, Blazing Sorcery Light should be out. I'm guessing probably end of the month, beginning of June. It's going to be followed by Continual Light, which is going to have the same basic system, but add new classes, new levels through level 7, and a bunch of other stuff, equipment, magic items, all the stuff that you need to run a campaign. Now, Joe's campaign, we run it every other week. It's been going on for, I think, 1.5 years now. We just hit level 6. So that's, I figure that's been a pretty good pace for us. So a rule set that goes to level 7 should last you a good long time. But
by the way, I like the experience point method so much, where you go, 2 levels, you go to 3rd, 3 you go, whatever. That I use that for my NPCs in the campaign I run monthly, my Dorothy campaign.
Oh, nice.
Because I don't like to have to keep experience points for
right.
NPCs. So every adventure they go on, when they hire an adventure, every adventure they go on, I keep track of it, and they go up. I think their NPCs right now are 4th level, which means they've been on 3, 5, 9 adventures. Yeah, so almost all we've been. I think this will be our 12th session coming up. So most of them have been with them since the beginning. Most of the NPCs. So now the problem is it takes a lot. Now at this point, they're going to need to go on 5 more adventures to get to 5th level. So it's going to be a while before the NPCs go up again. But that's good. That means the other characters will be it keeps them behind all the regular characters, but it's just a great method to use, period, because you don't have to keep track of experience points.
Right.
And
Not
sometimes that can
everybody
be a
likes the
pain in the
math.
ass.
I mean,
No,
I
I
liked
don't.
the math as a kid, but not everybody likes the math.
Mhm.
And it certainly, as adventures go on, the progression will slow down, and that's, I think, is a good
Yeah.
balance.
I just like to make things. The older I get, I want to make it easier. That's easy and quick. It just gets you through, and you're done. And you don't have to have this long list of you're adding up all the experience points for all the giants and orcs they killed. It's just it's kind of a pain in the ass. So.
Wow, Mike, we hit 2 hours. Oh my god!
Yeah, that was fun. Like I said, I'm very excited about Blades and Sorcery, and I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm going to get some stuff ready because like I said, And by the way, if you want to use my potions list, you're absolutely welcome to for the game.
Awesome.
I don't know if you want to do your own, but if you want to use that one, you're absolutely
Mike. Why reinvent the kitchen sink?
I'm just saying, I did put a lot of effort into. I was just flipping through it and going, man, I actually did put a lot of effort into this about making everything, make sense and only be one sentence long, so it's easy enough to use. And it's got a pretty good variety of potions. Like I said, there's 20 on here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I mean, look, growth. Drinker grows 30 feet in height. That's it. There's no long-winded whatever. Levitation. Drinker only can levitate vertically up or down, move 6. That's it. I mean, we're not, you make your own interpretation. We're going to give you that's the great thing about the light version. Yeah, you do your own. You can have Joe the Lawyer's 20 pages of house rules if you want to, or you could just say, we're just going to decide at the table. We'll do the 50-50 roll. 1, 2, 3, yes. 4, 6, no. I mean, just whatever you want to do. And that's what's great about these, these games like this, where you don't have to worry about. You don't get bogged down in rules. You're just playing to play and have a good time. You're not having to sit there and parse all the rules and flip to page 137 to look up encumbrance and all that stuff. No, don't worry about that. No.
Maybe we may address encumbrance, but otherwise, it's like common sense.
I tell you what, if you did encumbrance, I would do kind of like Kelsey does or some other people. Just say you can carry 10 items or something, 5 items. Just check it off and don't worry about weight or whatever. Yeah, just use slots. That's really easy. I like the slots method a lot.
Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show, but I'll mention this again. I've been asked by people, do you know what you call it Blades and Sorcery? Do you know how that abbreviates? I thought, exactly, I know how to abbreviate.
Absolutely.
Once I realized how it abbreviated, I knew that was it. That was the name. So it abbreviates as BS. So you can play BS Light, BS Continual Light, BS Eternal Light. That'll be our last of that series. But we have a lot of plans for the BS system.
You know what you're going to have to work out now? You're going to have a BS Shadow Dark version now. You're going to have to do Shadow Dark. BS Shadow Dark. Running BS using Shadow Dark.
Chris, we do a Gamers Health every Saturday. Mm-hmm. Rach and I, except occasionally if we're at a convention, we've been known to miss it at conventions or a comedy show we went to one Saturday night.
Oh.
But we generally go to, it's something that we both look forward to. We both spend the week bouncing ideas off each other of what we're going to cover. And yes, the first half of the show was generally talking about our personal challenges and what we've been doing, what we're talking about, what we planted in the garden, and how the garden's going, and how our indoor garden's going, and all stuff. And then we have a topic, and we're always open to topics. If you have any ideas of what you want us to cover, hey, my background is law enforcement. Rach was a social worker, and we'll cover it pretty well. As a cop, you're a jack of all trades. The kitty.
She won't leave me alone. Tonight has been terrible. I've been fighting her off screen. She found out she can jump up on the chair next to me and bat her hand at me when I'm trying to use my mouse.
Oh my God!
Yeah, she's gonna start getting locked up.
My girl.
Say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah. My girl will lay on the keyboard, and if I go to touch the mouse, she swats my hand. Like, you can't touch it. My mouse.
She just started doing that. I don't know what she's going through her head, but yeah, she may be locked up next week. I can't put up with this crap. her batting in my hand the whole show. Oh, Chris, you know what? We talk about that all the time. Zach and I were just saying today, Zach Laser and I, that we're going to get a senior center that has a kick-ass game room, and we're both going to go to the same one. And we're going to, and instead of
you need a good assisted living.
Yes. I bet. I wonder if those places, like what's that big place in Florida, the Villages, whatever. I wonder if they've got a kick-ass D&D group going on there with
they have to
60, 70-year-olds, 50, 60, 70-year-olds, and they're that'd be awesome, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I play white box by the rules. There's no house rules. I use
Raw chips. RAW raw. I play white box raw.
I used the same chips that came in my basic set. We didn't have dice when I was a kid.
They didn't afford dice. Dice fell apart. You rolled 3 times, they chipped, and they rolled forever. They were round after that. Oh, man, those are the days.
I still have one of those chips as a splinter in my finger.
Yep, it's going to be great, man. And then you're going to get in fights over something because who wants to be the DM and who stop arguing with the DM. I know more than you. No, you don't. Shut up.
It'd be a table full of tin
Shut the hell up. Oh, God. Everybody will be grumpy. Everybody will be grumpy.
Yes. Folks, thank you so much for joining us.
Yes.
Again, here, actually, I'm going to throw something up real quick. If I can find it. Hold on. Here. All right, this is the email address that you can use to send me a quick email. If you have topics that you want Mike and I to cover, if you have topics that you want the random party or Glenn and I to cover on a Friday night, you have stuff that you want me to cover during the week. If you have something that you want Rachel and I to cover on Gamers Health, ping us. All right, we work for you, and we don't really get paid. So don't worry about it with that.
And and if you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe. If you definitely if you like it, it helps. All that stuff helps us. It just, I mean, it's not like we're doing this. Obviously, we're not doing this for money. My God, we're not doing this for money. But it's fun to, it just it's cool to see your number rise. It's like, wow, there's people actually watching us and caring about what we think. That's awesome. And commenting on it. Make comments.
Michael, they really care.
That's cool because you know what we don't buy subscribers here. We don't buy them. No. Yeah,
I'm a cheap bastard. I want my
we're far too cheap to buy.
We're
far too cheap to buy subscribers. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We can't afford that. No.
No. Listen, I gotta. But the few dollars I make from the advertising on the YouTubes, I gotta keep making Mike's headsets last like 6 months.
My headset's fine. This one's okay. It's working. Right. I think we figured out it's not my headset; it's my connection. So that's on me. That's not.
Chris, you're not reading the right forums. If you find the right forums, you're gonna find posts like, "Tinker's interesting, but
oh my God,
voice is so horrible." Listen, Chris, New York accent. If you can't handle the New York accent, and this isn't you, Chris. But if you're somebody who can't handle the New York accent, mine is far from the worst.
Hey, a few weeks ago, I was so happy to see Bill Barsh's show, and then Mike popped on. I'm like, whoa, God, come on, man, give me a break. Cut me some slack here. Then Mike popped on. I'm like, oh, Mike's back.
Oh no, never so gonna go. Wow. It's gonna be a shitty show now.
My God. Yeah, Joe's right. Kim ended up being the only lady, so we did not bust the average. We did not bust the average. It's kind of like a baseball team. You hit a home run in the first inning, you're like, oh my gosh, how many home runs we're going to hit tonight? And there's no more home runs the whole game.
And the rest of the game is like a no hitter. It's like
it's like singles, like a single and an error and a walk. And okay, where's the home runs? Come on, home runs. Oh, no home runs. Hey, there's Glenn. Hey, Glenn, good to see you, man. Good to see you, brother.
You'll see a lot of Glenn when we do the live streams at North Texas.
Yes, definitely. So
respect.
Is this Friday a random party, or is it you and Glenn?
I think last week was me and Glenn. So I think this is
going to be a random party. All right. Glenn gets the week off. That's nice.
Yeah. Glenn's in the new abode. I like his setup.
Yeah, it's really good deal.
Too many, I'm afraid that too many guys, too many You know, I'm going to say, I better not sing. My voice, my voice is
No.
like it. Oh, somebody used to say my voice is like chalk on a blackboard.
Oh,
Oh, no.
that's good.
I I think that's somebody that didn't do so hot. So that's okay. I'll take the chalkboard for 100, please. All right.
Oof.
Catch you all
Later,
later.
everybody.
Yes, Joe, if you're in North Texas, you see us, hop in.
Yes,
That
definitely,
goes to all
Joe.
you miscreants out
Yep.
there. If you're in North Texas, hop into the live stream. We could always
Yes.
use you. All right.
All
Be
right,
safe.
later,
Be well.
everyone.
God bless. Brothers, dice, brother Mo. Latest. Oh, yeah. Blazing Sorcery.
Blazing Sorcery.
There we go.
BNS.
Maybe it was submitted for an Any.
A
I
song.
joke. I joke.
I'm
I
gonna make a
joke.
song. BS.
BS. I love my BS light. I
Are we off? Are
love
we
it.
off the air or on the air? We're still
We're
on?
still on the air. Hold on a
Oh
second.
God.
Now we got to go up there because that's going to be really.
I'm glad
Get
you
the
didn't say what I was
ringtone,
gonna say.
folks. Broke folks. You just earned yourself a ringtone. Go.
I,
Somebody
I,
click
I
that.
almost got a little